Hello, I'm Dale Matthews, and welcome to Inside News, our local show about local politics. And oh, gee, I hope that I'll say it again. This is Dale Matthews with Inside News, and I'm joined by Mike Jones. Hi, Mike. It rang twice. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's weird. What are you going to do? Here we are. And it looks like we're going to talk about advisory questions, which kind of messes with your mind to begin with. What are they advising me on?
They say they already know the answers. Okay, but just before we get into that, we've got new breaking news about local politics. Are you ready for this? Sit down and everybody and take some notes because fasten up for a bumpy ride. So right now for Commissioner position 2, you've got Keith Heck that's running, of course, and I'm running. Yes, Tony Webb is running. Mark Kelsey, that's the guy that said he was going to do the recall and then didn't. Nathaniel Duarte, I don't know. And just today, Dan DeYoung from the Grants Pass Council jumped in.
Boy, did you ever call that one?
You know what? And what a lucky guy I am, because really, now, if you're going to vote for Dan DeYoung, who is, one of the two head guys for the Grants Pass sales tax, please do. You wouldn't like me in this position. If you think the Grants Pass sales tax was just the most brilliant move ever, then Dan DeYoung's your guy.
Yeah, and he doesn't realize how badly he's going to be beaten over the head with, you guys are the stupidest people ever. I mean, that's essentially
what competition he said. For that crown, because he's running against Keith Heck. And my feeling is that the people who think they love the way that things are going, now they're going to be in a quandary. Do they vote for Keith Heck, who's already there, or do they vote for maintaining the status quo with Dan DeYoung?
Yeah, and what would be the benefit? What does Dan DeYoung offer that Keith Heck doesn't?
He's younger.
I mean,
I don't know.
He's DeYounger.
He stays awake.
Yes, I think. Yeah, I know. It's you know what? Listen, it's very, very clear. From what I've seen, that Dan DeYoung takes his marching orders from the staff, and how would it be any different here? So if you like what you see in Dan DeYoung at the city council, then hey, there you go.
Absolutely. And Dan DeYoung has made it very clear that he loves Cheryl Walker and all of her policies. So he's not going to run against Cheryl Walker. So what a great deal for this show. If Cheryl Walker, this is terrible for the county. I apologize for laughing. If Cheryl Walker got in and Dan DeYoung got in, the show would never end.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Dan DeYoung how long he could hold back his contempt for the people of the county. Because listen, if he has contempt for the people of the city, he's really going to hate the people in the county.
Yeah.
Really going to hate them.
And if he were to team up with Cheryl Walker to see who could have more contempt, wow. Okay, so on the other side, there's news over there too. Yeah. Cheryl Walker is running, of course, and Ron Smith and Lily Morgan and Mark Seligman and Shane Christen, the guy that's sort of a match for Mark, and Raymond Smith, Virgil Marler. He's the fellow that told me, I said, so Virgil, what compelled you to run? Well, there was nobody running. Nobody? Well, a couple of housewives. I don't know what he's talking about. Does he?
He's up on the news, that guy.
Okay.
Apparently.
Bill Hunker, who wants to team with Joseph Rice, right? And a new candidate, Paul Walter.
Really?
Paul Walter has thrown his hat in the ring. That's who I was trying to call just before this show. Paul Walter's the fellow that told us last time that he ran, specifically why he told us behind the scenes, pardon me, specifically why he was running is he wanted to get publicity and sign up people for his commercial website, which is exactly what he did. He went to the Grants Pass Courier forum, and when he was done, he got down off the dais and went around the room and was passing out a clipboard to get people to sign up for his website. Publicity.
Okay. That's what we need. Because that's important. We need to have, I wish that somehow the reputation would precede these people, and we would understand exactly what their motivations were. So like say Dan DeYoung, have some sort of a position on what I'm going to do and why you want me as a county commissioner. Now I understand, hey, the city councilman, that's unpaid. So I get that there may be a little bit of an issue there. It's hard
money is
to
your prime motivator. Yeah, money, your prime motivator. That's not the case for me, but it might be for him. I don't know.
Right. So and guys like Paul Walter, okay, what's your position? I know that generally, I agree with Paul Walter on some stuff as much as I have seen him, which is, about 5 times since I've ever been going to these meetings. He doesn't really show up for them very much. But if you're only going to show an interest in local politics once every few years when there's an open position in the commissioner's office, then do us all a favor. Really.
Well, Nathaniel Duarte went to his very first county meeting of all time this last Wednesday. So he's bearing down, buddy. Okay.
Hear what he has to say, and you may hear what he has to say, because tomorrow night we're going to be broadcasting live, and we are going to be broadcasting the Republican Party's candidates night. And I assume that candidates from all parties are welcome there, because it's a non-partisan position, allegedly, and so we're going to have those guys, and we're going to stream it live. And those who agree to be streamed live will be heard tomorrow night.
It's kind of I was thinking, how do you categorize this? Is that the first candidates night? Not exactly. It's kind of like a mini candidates night because there will be many of us there. But no, what I mean is there have been some meetings around the county already, mostly among money people who have selectively invited certain people. Well, yeah, right. That I'm not invited, and neither is Raymond Smith and some other people. But people have been invited to come and tell your story to the people with money. This is a little bit different, but I don't think that everybody's going to show up for this. Now, there will be 6 of us, I think. There might be a 7th. They will be invited to come and stand up and say a few things. And I think that the number one issue that's going to separate everybody, the first separation point, will be, what is your stand about a Grants Pass, about a Josephine County, I was thinking Grants Pass sales tax, I was thinking Dan DeYoung, about a Josephine County property tax. Do you think that you're okay? There are people who want it yesterday, okay, and Keith Eck will be there. There are people who say, well, I'd love to see this. Bill Hunker has said this. I'd love to see this in a year or two, okay, which kind of fits in with the SOS plans. They want to do it in a year. And then there are 4 people that I know of, and only 4, who say that they would like to put at least a 4-year moratorium on it. Just, a break.
So I wonder if Mr. DeYoung will be at this event here tomorrow evening.
I don't know. He just registered today.
Yeah. Well.
So there are going to be people in the room who are strongly for property tax and say, hey, the more the better. And then there will be people there that say, no, I don't want that. I believe that the Republican Party, especially right now, is bifurcated. Who would have thought they could be bifurcated? At a time where part of the party is saying we're tax and spend liberal Republicans, and part of the party says no, we're fiscal conservatives. It's a strange party.
Indeed.
I don't quite get it. Okay, speaking of strange parties, so we're going to read to you. Whoa, boy, that's going to be fun. We'll do it with sock puppets. We're going to read it to you. Gather around the TV, children, and we're going to tell you, because there's no other way to do it. We're going to tell you what the wording is going to be for two advisory questions. Two, wait a minute, I thought there was one. No, just as of this morning, this is very strange. The commissioners are required to give people enough notice so they can show up at meetings. And you know, I go to all of the meetings. I go to more of their meetings than they go to. I didn't know about this meeting. Now, how come I didn't know about this meeting? Because they decided on Friday, apparently, that they were going to have a meeting Monday morning. Didn't know that. Didn't really tell anybody. Posted it. I looked Friday morning. Well, it wasn't posted till after 11 o'clock. And they had a 9 o'clock meeting this morning. Now, to me, that's not 24 hours notice. Over the weekend, yeah, but you can't just put something up there on a Sunday morning at 8 a.m. and expect that people are going to know about it. You tell people, as I said, well, they didn't want to tell people. And so they got together in a meeting this morning that I wasn't at. How am I supposed to know? I checked Friday morning, not there. And they decided that they've got to come up with a brand new advisory question. I don't like that kind of tactic. And I don't like the thing that they're doing on Wednesday, which is tomorrow they're going to be looking at the other advisory question, the 3453 advisory question, and deciding if they want to change it. Now, how the heck are you supposed to change that at 11 o'clock in the morning when you have a 9 o'clock meeting the next day?
I don't know.
Whatever. So, but what do you expect from these guys? I'm not saying we should always expect the worst, but hasn't caused us any problems so far. So we're going to read to you the House Bill 3453 advisory question, which is going to be on the ballot. This is the newest version. They could possibly change it tomorrow morning. In the matter of referring to Josephine County voters on the May 17th ballot, an advisory question on what they call public safety services. And the caption reads, advisory question on public safety services. Mike, what is the question that they're reading?
Let's see here. The HB 3453 one, is this what we're talking about?
First one, huh?
Yes, advisory question on public safety services. Question, in your opinion, should Josephine County ask the state to provide resources to the county for public safety services? Wow, that just sounds like, hey, should mom give us popsicles or candy bars?
Now, keep in mind, as it says in the ballot summary, the outcome of this election, sorry, I do radio, the outcome of the election on this advisory question will not be binding. It will provide information to the Board of County Commissioners while the board formulates policies and sells out the county. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, and that's essentially, it's not binding, but we're going to act on it. You know, I mean, what is it isn't binding, like you can't that they won't necessarily do it because you told them to. They'll do it because they want to. That's what you need.
I believe that to be the case. Oh, but by the way, on Facebook, and if you want a copy of this, we will send you a copy. All you need to do is get in touch with Mike. Well, us, through the thing that Mike's putting up on the screen right now.
Yes, right now. badcounty@cpros.com.
And we will send you this text so that you can read it without us commenting about it. You'll love that.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. The ballot summary, the outcome of the election on this advisory question will not be binding. It will provide information to the Board of Commissioners while the board formulates policy. You already heard that part. Let's see here. The Board of County Commissioners may petition the governor to proclaim a public safety fiscal emergency in the county if the county determines that it is financially unable to provide an adequate level of public safety services.
Now, wait a second.
The board.
Wait a second. If the county determines, interesting wording, because this is if, wait a second. The Board of County Commissioners has already told the governor and anyone who will listen that we're in a fiscal emergency. This says if the county determines. What does if the county determines mean? Does that mean?
It means, yes. Well, they'll claim that the county determined it by a positive result on this advisory question.
And what is a positive result, Mike Jones? What does positive result mean? What percentage?
Oh, I'd say anything over 40, 45%, something like that.
I think it's anything over 1/3, but okay. Go ahead.
All right.
Because they want to do this.
Right. The board, in consultation with the sheriff and the governor, may then enter into a written agreement involving resources for public safety services. If approved, the agreement would take effect after the 2017 legislative session ends. The agreement would last for up to 18 months and could potentially be renewed for an additional 18 months. Such an agreement could include that the state would pay for half of the cost of the agreed upon public safety services, and the county would pay for the other half.
Now that's interesting. Who starts that off? Because we heard Cheryl say that we've got her on tape. Cheryl say, well, the state doesn't have any resources at the moment. Well, you know what the state can do to get that. They'll just print up more money and hang it out to dry and it'll be fine.
Right. Those Oregon greenbacks.
Now, if the state comes up with $50 million, then we're supposed to pay the other half. If the state comes up with $1.95, then we're supposed to pay the other half.
Right.
This is the state wagging the dog, right?
Right.
This is state, we're going to do this, so you have to match it. Not you can match it, but you have to match it, right?
Right. And listen, in order to be well informed on this, you're going to have to delve deep into the text of 3453 and analyze it deeply, because there are people that we have confidence in who have indicated they believe that you will be taxed. That they can very well implement a property tax without a vote of the people, and you're going
even
to
a sales tax
for it.
And we've said it on the show already. We're not going now. Why are we not talking about it now? Okay, I'm not giving anything away to those watching or listening to the show that say, "Oh, well, don't tell it." We're not telling everybody everything, but why are we not giving it away? Because we got a pretty good idea of what's wrong with this. We're not giving it away because you know how if you go fishing, that using a treble hook is not a nice thing to do. You're not supposed to. Well, this has got a treble hook on the end of it, and we want to be sure that we've got these guys completely. They put it in. They can't turn around. Here's where it is. They've already said they know this, so don't get upset. We're not giving everything away, but they've already said we're pretty sure that this is going to be challenged. Well, yeah, guess what? Once they've got their wording out there and can't back up, now, it doesn't mean that Judge Wolke is going to agree with us that there's anything such thing as permanent in this life, right? But we've got some pretty good arguments that will indicate that this is against this, it's against that, it's against this other thing. Why am I not being specific? You know why. I just explained it to you. And therefore, go ahead, fellas. Just put it right in there. You just go ahead and put yourself out there, and then we'll see how that goes. We are going to give it a good try to stop it at the very beginning, because there are some things about this that are just wrong. I don't mean just morally wrong. I mean wrong.
Yeah. And as Dale alluded to here a couple of minutes ago, when it says such an agreement could include that the state would pay for half the cost agreed on for public safety services, and the county would pay the other half. That seems like, well, our taxes would be half and then theirs would be the other half. But what if the state comes in and says, we have $10 million for you for our half? Well, we only have $3.5 million from our taxes. So how are they going to come up with the balance of the 50%? Well, of course, there's only one answer to that. It's you,
an emergency. It's an emergency as actually declared by our county commissioners that are not going to be reelected. Right. It's an emergency as declared by Jay Meredith at the SOS and also the city. It's an emergency as defined by everybody that's been pushing, and that's Lily Morgan, and that's Dandy Young, and that's the guy's name I can never remember. He's bald, and it's Mayor. Guys want it, they'll take it by hook or by crook any way they can get it. Okay, explanatory statement. Previously, in 2012, the Board of County Commissioners sent a non-binding question to the voters. This thing again. The commissioners asked at that time whether the current level of service provided by the county's criminal justice system meets the needs of the community. Now, what they did not ask is, are you willing to pay for more, which is the real question, but they didn't want to ask that. And the voters responded 25.56% yes. It doesn't matter about the 5.6. It matters about how you worded it. And 74.44% no. Well, of course, that means they're not happy. If you had asked them, are they willing to pay more, they would have given you a more accurate answer. But they've been flogging this thing from the beginning. See, that proves it's an emergency. Since 2012, the voters have not supported 3 different levies. Why are they doing this again, Mike? Mike!
Well, because that's how they roll.
Since 2000, the voters have not supported 9 different levies, but okay, since 2015, the voters have not supported 1 different levy for funding the county's criminal justice system. Right. Core criminal justice services in the sheriff's office, the jail, the district attorney's office, and the juvenile justice shelter and detention facilities have remained at similar service levels. And then they didn't put the subscript, think about the children. Mike?
Yes. In July of 20...
While you're reading this now, sorry.
Okay, yes, I will. In July of 2013, Oregon's legislature approved HB, House Bill 3453. The governing body of a county may petition the governor to declare a public safety fiscal emergency.
Okay, who may petition the governor? Who may petition the governor?
That the governing body.
All right. Does that include the citizens that keep saying no, or does it include just 2 county commissioners out of 3? Actually, the 2 that are going to be losing.
Yes, that's what it includes. We are the governing body. So understand that, though they say that your answer to this question is not binding. Oh yeah. It counts. It definitely counts, and you should vote no on this. And I hope you do.
Go ahead.
So anyway, let's see here. The governing body may petition if the governor determines that a county is financially unable to provide an adequate level of public safety services.
Now, I'm going to stop you. What the heck is an adequate level? We've already determined what an adequate level is. We're okay with it. No, you said no before. No. You didn't ask the question right. You asked if we'd like more. Of course we'd like more. Would you like to pay for more? No. Well, would you like more? Yes. But would you like to pay for more? No. So what does an adequate level mean, Mike?
Well, you know what? And here's where the little tyranny thing comes into play, because they will be the arbiters of an adequate level of public safety services. It's not you, even though you have said it. We have taken a poll, not just a poll of 500 likely voters. We've taken a poll of every actual voter in the last 10 years on this topic.
But Mike, there's no consensus. Why people have said 0 times in the last 2 weeks that they didn't want this.
Right. Well, okay. You know what's going to happen though on this is that they're going to say, well, yes, but during all those other times, we still had SRS, and now SRS is dead.
And Simon Hare said it's already over. He said it was over in October of 2015. He said it was over. That's not true. It's not over. Well, but Mike, they're not talking about it in Washington, D.C., but why are they not talking about it?
Because they only talk about these things a couple of days before they actually do them. That's why.
And we got 2 years of funding. So technically,
yes, but I was under the impression that one of those was one of those years was retroactive. In other words, they were funding 2014 and 2015. And then when 2016 rolls around, we got nothing for you or something.
They keep saying that it's going to run out in 2017.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again, it's going to run out in 2017. Okay. So they're trying to prepare us for the fact that this time like Judy Ahrens, we really have run off the cliff.
Okay. And I continue. The governor may enter into a written agreement for public safety services with the county's governing body. The Board of Josephine County Commissioners, which is the county's governing body. See, we should have just shut up and read a little further. They would have told us what it was. In consultation with the sheriff, would then decide whether to approve the written agreement. If approved, the agreement would take effect after the 2017 legislative session ends. It's like mid-July or something, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Such an agreement could conclude that the state would pay for half of the cost of the agreed upon public safety services. Now that's a little bit ambiguous there, because agreed upon, well, we're agreeing on a budget of 15 million. Well, they'll come up with 7.5 and we need to come up with 7.5. Well, where's our 7.5? Not only that, don't think for 1 second that the state is not going to come back around the backside and say, hey, listen, this is costing us money. You guys need to reimburse us for our half that we're putting into here. So this could be the double, triple whammy here. And
that's because the state doesn't have our back. The state has our backside.
Yes.
And it's kicking it.
Mm-hmm.
And the county would pay for the other half, Mike was going to say.
Yes. Here, hang on just a second here.
Agreement would last forever.
Yes. The agreement would last for up to 18 months, and it could potentially be renewed for an additional 18 months. Yeah, and who makes the decision about that? I would assume the board,
the legislative body, of course.
Right, and the thing is that normally, when it comes to levies, who makes the choice on that? The people do. In this situation, who makes the choice? They do. So if they approve it for an additional 18 months, can they then approve it for another 18 months after that and keep going and keep going and keep going? And then now they make all the tax decisions and not us. They make all the funding decisions, not us. That would certainly be to their liking. There's no question about that.
This is their way that they can get around having to have this pesky thing called a vote in America. They don't like that. They always lose. Always. Always. The citizens have always won. They've had it up to here with the citizens always winning.
Okay. And I should have just read a little bit longer. It could potentially be renewed for an additional 18 months. A renewal may require additional state legislative action. They don't tell us what the...
All right, so one of the important places they're going to go for advice is this Criminal Justice Council, I think is what a Criminal Justice Committee, who has recently been elected to the Criminal Justice Committee, chosen by the governor from Josephine County. That's Wally Hicks. Okay. The county would be required to fund its half of the cost of criminal justice services, a thing we always refuse to do. The county may use existing sources of revenue, A tax on services with access to 911, such as telephones, written by Wally Hicks when he was up north, or any assessment the governing body is lawfully capable of imposing. Property taxes require voter approval. This is the false part, and may
Mm-hmm.
not be imposed by the governor or the Board of County Commissioners. We're going to find that this is one of their Achilles heels. This will not be true. The law provides the funding through an income tax. However, because the Josephine County Charter prohibits establishing an income tax, one cannot be lawfully imposed here, except for the fact that Wally Hicks has just told us that that kind of thing can be done simply by going to a judge that you're friendly with. Mike?
Mm-hmm. Yes. All right, hang on just a second here. I was looking at some. I was trying to find the other our other little piece of stuff on that. Okay. And let's see here. Based on the county's expected revenue, the county would experience a reduction of available resources in budget year 2017, 2018.
Now, wait a minute. This sentence is interesting. It's all by itself. What does it say again, Mike?
It says, based on the county's expected revenue, the county would experience a reduction of available resources in budget year 2017, 2018. And, but what they're talking about is SRS.
That's right. And who's expecting this? And who says it's going to be a lot less or less at all? People are pushing for the property tax.
Yeah, the commissioners so far, and I believe that isn't Walden sort of making noises
Walden's
in that
saying
regard?
it. Right. Okay, then back to my radio voice. The answer to this advisory question would have no binding effect. They've already said, Simon Harris already said, I may or may not do what you say. This is a request from the Board of County Commissioners for information from the community. They've also said they already know the answer. This question is an opportunity. Mike, it's just an opportunity for the community to express an opinion. The Board of County Commissioners may use the response to this question to create policy. Brother, they've already created the policy.
Yes, they may, unless you don't say what they want, in which they'll do it anyway and say that it was for a different reason.
Well, I'm glad you used that word, the May ballot. Do you remember the last time we were around on this? And the funny part, the ironic part, was the May ballot was actually the May question. We may do it or we may not. That's what they said. When we get this money in, it may go to the things that we've said, but we're under no obligation that it will go there. So it really, truly was the May levy. Maybe we will, maybe we won't, which was one of the people didn't trust them. It's not that we don't think that we need any law enforcement at all. Come on. Okay. It's that we could not trust them where they were going to spend the money. They've had it up to here with that too. You don't trust us. No, we don't. Well, we're worthy of your trust. No, you're not. Yes, we are. And we're going to prove it by betraying you.
Yes.
Do you recall, everybody, that they said, you've got to pass this last levy or the governor, the boogeyman, the governor may come down here and do these things. The same things they're asking the governor to do now. If only we had known then, hey, we know that in 6 months, you're going to say the opposite. Oh, isn't that wonderful? This is the same governor that they were talking about. This time, however, she's going to help them subvert the will of the people. Just like Steve Rich, I'm not making this up, helped subvert the will of the people by going to court and reversing some of the things that were in the charter, the non-effective charter. The only way the charter has any effect, any stopping effect on people who go to, on commissioners who go to the court and say, we want you to reverse the will of the people. Oh, okay, says the judge. Sure, anytime. You want that to be permanent? The only way we have any protection against that is to get a couple of commissioners in there, because we've got 2 coming up, who will say, we can clearly see the will of the people, and even if it says, some court says, some governor says, some president says, you don't have to obey the will of the people, we're still going to do so. why would you do that? It says you don't have to. We know, but we're going to. Well, but that means I can't take $100,000 a year in total. No, you can't. I'm not running for office. If that's the case, would say a number of people who are currently running for office. They're not going to take that pledge. Are you kidding me? It's your charter. Okay, Mike, what's the next one say? This is lovely. This next one's really not as awful. It's something that's kind of a no-brainer. But the way they went about it, I don't care for that. They really should tell people that it's coming up. They just didn't feel like doing that.
This is the Rogue Rivers proposed federal designation resolution number 2016-020.
Now, this was adopted today by the Board of County Commissioners in a surprise secret meeting. It wasn't secret. Yes, it was, because you didn't tell anybody you were having it. The caption on the advisory question says, as you just said, the question is, in your opinion, should the federal government designate 63 additional miles of the Rogue River as, quote, wild and scenic? Mike?
Wait a minute. That's not a big deal?
No, I think it's a big deal. No. Of course it's a big deal. But it's not going to be controversial for people to say, well, yes, that's what I meant. Who's going to say no?
Who's going to say no? That
no, that's not what I mean.
Additional miles of the Rogue River not be.
I said it backwards.
I'm saying no.
I said it backwards. Who's going to fight the fact that this is on the ballot? Nobody should fight this, except for the way they did it, which was dishonest. Of course, people are going to say most of the people in Grants Pass I still am stuck on this Grants Pass thing, in Josephine County are probably going to say, no, don't designate everything as wild and scenic. If you want to designate the Wild River Pub, where they hold the Rotary Club meetings, as wild and scenic, and now you can't go in there anymore, okay.
The thing about this wild and scenic thing, it doesn't sound wonderful? It sounds wonderful. The problem is that almost none of it is wonderful, and a lot of it is comes with a bunch of restrictions. It's a way of them not allowing you to do anything, and it's on the way to it. If it doesn't completely restrict you from doing anything, it's most of the way there, and they'll finish it up with the next round that they nail you with. But
they seem so surprised at this meeting. I heard the recording. Okay, that's the only way that we got it. They did record it, unlike the public part of their last executive meeting in secret. When they come out, they're supposed to record what they do. They don't, because they don't want to, and so you don't know what they voted on. Okay, so that's another procedural thing, and some of you will care, and others go, who cares? I care.
I have a question. We're not even into this, but I have a very serious question about this. Listen, I understand why the board is doing this. The board is doing this because they cannot make up their mind on their own. They can't say, we understand what this does and it's not good and we don't like it, and here are the reasons why it's going to be bad for Josephine County. They don't have a solid foundation in their own code in order to come off with something like that. So what they're going to do is, this is cowardice, is what this is that we don't want to take a position on this, so we're going to allow the people to answer this question, and then we will say, well, the people said blah blah blah, so we're going with that. Couldn't you think, and who has to be
how about supporting the people? You heard us talking about this thing before. and you may remember this scenario. There's a big mound of earth. This is based on a real situation. There's a big mound of earth, and you can't see this guy's property from the river. Okay, but when you look up at the river, the rules are that if you have a barn or something on the other side of that big mound of earth that you cannot see from the river, that you can't paint that barn in certain colors because people out on the river might object to it. See, and that's how intrusive this is. So I said is what we really need, and they were talking about painting things a certain color in this meeting, like it was the first time they ever heard of it. We talked about this months and months and months ago, and I said I think what we need is we need leadership that would go down there with cans of paint and the media, and they would paint this thing in whatever color, pick orange, whatever, and it's got the Josephine County logo on one side, and then stand there like this and go and say to the press, all right, that's our stand. That's the kind of leadership that we need that's going to say, this is ridiculous. You can't see this from the river. Send a camera down there so you can see you can't see it. And then stand here and say, that's the Josephine County logo on the side of that barn, buddy.
Yeah,
Now, what are you gonna do?
you know, I really don't care. I draw the line where somebody needs to get to be able to do what they want with their own property with the least amount of restrictions possible. Now, I understand that maybe your neighbor finds certain things that you might do on your property offensive, and that's something that you can have an argument with them about on a one-on-one, case-by-case basis. And same too with local government. If they have an issue with what you're doing, bring the issue to you, and let's have an unbiased arbiter make a decision about that. And you can move on. But this idea of just painting an entire swath of this area, and I forget how far back from the river this wild and scenic thing goes. It's like, quite a ways back, and it may say later in this ballot summary here. But I think they should stay out of our business as much as possible. And this is the federal government getting more in your business. And really, our local the commissioners don't really have that much to say about it, because I think that this may happen regardless of what the board says. But the fact that our board is so gutless that they don't have an opinion ready to go out of the box on this one is a little unnerving here.
Well, we're going to read a little bit more of this because I think you're going to see that it does make sense to say, to vote the way that we've been saying on this show. I think it makes sense to do that. And the board, rather than just having a feeling for the people, maybe they just don't know. And we're going to do this, and then we've just about run out of time. It says in 2015, the United States Bureau of Land Management, BLM, proposed to designate an additional 63 miles of the Rogue River extending from Lost Creek Lake in Jackson County to the Applegate River in Josephine County as wild and scenic. The entire section of the Rogue River that is located in Josephine County would then be designated as wild and scenic. Inclusion into the National Wild and Scenic River System could affect public and private property that is located within 1/4 mile of the riverbanks. The BLM has estimated that the new designation could apply to 19,798 acres of property in Josephine and Jackson counties. You want to sum this up rather than reading the whole explanatory statement there, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that this means that there'll be an additional nearly 20,000 acres of a little bit more restricted property rights. And this is incremental situation. Is funny because the other night, Bill Whittle was giving an analogy of the movement of bureaucracy forward is like a winch, it's a ratcheting winch. It goes, and each time they get past a click, the little tang sets and it can't go back, and so we're stuck in it. All it does is go forward. more and more and more and more bureaucracy. And so this is more. And then a couple of years they'll add more, and then instead of then after they've got really most of the populated area covered with this wild and scenic thing, then they'll ratchet it back from a quarter mile to 3 miles, and then 6 miles, and then pretty soon you got nothing. That's how this kind of stuff works. And I just say,
why do our so-called leaders need to? Why are they questioning? Why are they so mystified by what most of the public here feels about this, Mike? Because they're out of touch?
Yeah, it could be. Well, the thing is politically they understand. Listen, people like Cheryl Walker on the board probably want to do this out of the box. They don't care. This is their thing. They like it. Let's do it. But politically, they want to have their backside covered, and that's why this advisory question. And this is just gutlessness on their part. They don't want to. They don't want to take a stand, and some people are unwilling to take a stand, and they want a rationale for doing what it is they want to do anyway.
All right, one more little detail here on our show about politics, and that is I've got an announcement from Grants Pass City over my shoulder. As we speak, as this show is happening, there is an event happening over in the Grants Pass City Council chambers. The City of Grants Pass and Experience Grants Pass is hosting a branding forum. Now, I encourage you to take your hot irons over there.
Yes, I agree.
And, okay, and did you know this was happening? This is interesting. How much publicity did they have about this? Well, we all know about it. Well, yeah, you do. The City of Grants Pass is presenting branding concepts and discussing the City of Grants Pass branding. That's a little repetitive, but okay. We would like to receive comments and suggestions from community members. Please note, a quorum of the City Council may be present.
Mm-hmm.
So they are inviting you to come by and talk about the brand new logo that they've come up with. There's another logo. The same guy, he's going to get his money out of this. And they've come up with what they think is a killer logo. And this time apparently is some kind of oar or something having to do with a boat. Gee, it's hard to see, but it looks like this boating guy is holding an oar, but that's never going to do because this will not attract people from all over the world who are going to see this new logo and drop everything and come flying up to Grants Pass because there's an oar.
Listen.
Mike, either or, I just...
Yeah, how your money is wasted. It's unreal.
It's a branding forum. I like my idea better.
Yes, I do too.
Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Now run on over there and tell them your opinion, which they're then going to promptly belittle and act like you never said anything. Why? The public has no input at all. Right. Probably because they didn't know the meeting was happening. We're not even there because we're doing a show that's more important than your stupid branding forum. Did I say stupid? That's awful, Mike.
You know what? I have to wonder, what body Mr. Bowen hid for somebody or several persons in the city staff or the city council or something like that, because they're determined to throw money at this guy. It's an amazing thing.
We'll keep you informed the best that we can do. We were going to talk about something having to do with the city anyway and some of the blathery things that they want to do in the next year, but these events coming out today, Paul Walter running for county commissioner, this is much more important than anything else that the city is doing. So you can rest assured now that you've got your candidate. There you go. Thank you, everybody. And, Dan DeYoung's running too. There you go. So if you love a Grants Pass City sales tax, your guy is now running to do the same thing to the county that he's been doing to Grants Pass. Lovely. Sleep well, everybody.